Ethos of Silence.
A veteran podcast aims to amplify the voices of veterans, creating a safe space for authentic conversations about their experiences, challenges, and triumphs. We seek to break the stigma surrounding mental health and foster community support, resilience, and understanding. Through storytelling, expert insights, and candid discussions, we strive to inspire healing, promote awareness, and empower veterans on their journeys.
Welcome. All right, Ethos of Silence, and we're live, and I'm back with Chuck, and he's telling me he wants to start this book series. What book you got, Chuck?
The book is called Turn the Ship Around.
Turn the Ship Around. You think I can find it on Amazon or what? Who wrote it?
Oh, definitely. It's by David Marquette. It's a former Navy submarine commander, and the basic gist of it was he got orders to the USS Santa Fe nuclear-powered submarine, and they were legitimately the worst in the fleet. And as you know, being in the military, being the worst of anything is a death sentence. And just like anything else, there's inspections and things like that. In 1 year's time, they went from being dead last to being the very best. So it's basically him talking about how he empowered others, right? And some of the decisions that he made.
Added it to my Amazon cart. I'll definitely jump on it and get in it. I love reading inspirational things. You want to open it up and read us a little bit of it, or what you want to do?
Yeah. So I'm just gonna start with the acknowledgement. I'm gonna go ahead and
okay.
I'd like to acknowledge, and mind you, I do not have the best reading voice. Okay, just bear with me here. I'd like to acknowledge the crew of the USS Santa Fe who served with me from 1999 through 2001. They set aside their notions of what should be and engaged with me on a courageous journey. Whatever success I had was theirs. Recognition goes to my publisher, Clint Greenleaf, who showed confidence in the project after a chance meeting in New York. Admiral Gay Rickover deserves a credit for establishing the Naval Nuclear Propulsion Program. He interviewed me in 1981, selected me for the program, and gave me the opportunity to command a nuclear power submarine. I'd like to acknowledge the inspirational leaders I served with in the Navy, including Mark Perez, Steve Howard, Mark Kenny, and Al Kuzicki, if I'm saying that correctly. He goes on, but essentially, he gives thanks to everybody, and I'm really interested because, to be honest, lately, you and I have talked more and more, and I'm really appreciative of that. I had to come to acknowledge some of the mistakes I've made and some choices that I make and habits that I have, and I got to really change those. And I think one of the issues that I have, and I think military members in general have, is just reaching out for help, right? Like we let it get to the point where we're in handcuffs or we're standing in front of the commanding officer and we're facing NJP or whatever, divorce, whatever, because we just don't ask for help because we got this unbreakable pride, and it's definitely not been as beneficial as I would like to admit.
Yeah, no. Pride is definitely one of them. Reaching out for help is definitely a difficult thing. It's weird, though. He starts the book with the acknowledgments of everybody around him as if his accomplishments leading all this stuff. Like, I'm the one making the decisions, but you're the people making things work. And the same with, I know when I was in the Marine Corps, and I showed up at 311 and started being that guy you described as an asshole, because I've been re-listening to our podcast quite a bit. Obviously, I'm barking these orders at people, and I'm trying to train them, trying to do all the right things, holding them accountable, all the different things. But without them actually executing on the stuff I'm saying, if I had an all-out mutiny, nothing would get done, and I'd look like the idiot, not them, right? So it's that delicate balance of things, and then it's weird whenever you get out into a civilian realm or even like you're not completely in a civilian realm. You're still kind of halfway in, halfway out. I don't understand that concept at all because you can't get halfway pregnant. Either you're completely in or you're not. But, you're doing the reservist thing, right? So with doing that, you still have a majority of the time trying to take care of and complete the civilian aspect of things. And it's just a weird little bubble to live in whenever you don't have that kind of support system and everything else isn't really around you, and you don't have somebody, like trying to catch you before you fall with, hey man, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? All the other different little aspects of it. And life can very quickly spin out of control, and before you know it, the voices you would talk to and the people who would be balancing your life aren't there, and you don't know how to compensate. You don't know how to figure out what to do. And situations, just like all of our opportunities in this economy to make a bunch of money, pop up to where there's a bunch of money that gets spent, and before you know it, you're in a completely different situation. You know what I mean? Or you get hornswoggled or misled by people, and you get all these pyramid schemes where somebody's trying to tell you on doing this, doing that, all your great opportunities to be able to go in the housing projects and all this other different stuff because of your military benefits. And before you know it, something that looked good on paper, a detail was missed, and before you know it, like something that looked like it'd be profitable is not profitable, and you're like, well, how do I get out of this? So there's a lot of things that go into it. It's hard to reach out for help.
I think I'm in my 30s, and kind of in my particular situation, you don't necessarily want to feel like you're struggling or want to feel like you're losing, and it's like I really do miss the support that the military has, that that network of individuals, like you were saying. Some days I really do feel like I'm on my own island, and when things are good, don't get me wrong, when things are good, it's great and it's awesome, but when things are bad and you don't know where to reach out to, and it seems like everyone is kind of just already going through their own stuff, so you don't want to burden other people, and it's like a weight, man. And I'm thankful to you, because there are times where I call you and you can just kind of reel me back in, because like I feel like sometimes I do go out there, I go far out, and I'm trying to pull all this weight with me, So,
yeah, no, I mean,
bad habits.
But that's everybody, and everybody's got to kind of find their way, and it's different because you go from being, when you show up and you're nothing, and you have people kind of guiding you on how the military works, and then you get out, and not that you don't have people guiding you, but you get out from the military aspect of things, and you quickly realize that the world operates different, and everybody around you looks up to you and looks at you, and you are in this shining light, and you don't want to take away from the illusion of this person that they built. I don't want to ask for help moving because I don't want to look like I'm no longer invincible, different stuff like that. And it's really hard to wrap your head around that, and then just your way of thinking is completely different from all your buddies back in the day. So it's hard to reconnect with any friends on different levels. Different parts of life feel out of hand, out of grasp. I get it. One of my funniest things, is like, I deal with demons. I deal with things that when I'm tired or when I'm dealing with stuff, like my temper, it's really hard, So I love jumping into quotes,
Okay.
But it's more like with your temper, it's more like you reacting to somebody else reacting, and just your characters bouncing off of each other. But I mean, dude, it's cold right now. My body hurts, and I have a very, very short fuse for somebody doing something stupid that's got me standing outside where the wind's blowing and it's cold right now because it's cold. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I'm hurting. I'm out here helping you. Like, stop being stupid. Let's get this done and go somewhere. So let me read you a quote and see what you think, right? My demons woke me up this morning and said, bro, I'm tired. So I handed him a coffee and said, come on, little one. We got paper to chase and people to piss off.
So, you know what? That's actually a perfect quote, because something that happened to me earlier this week, and like you said, like, this is kind of like therapy for us. So I don't know, because I guess I would just fill it in. You know, you call me Chuck. They used to call me Chuckles, right? So I just want to paint that for the those that are listening. I had a very nervous laugh as a young man, you know, and you walk around and you got big bad Sergeant Loucks who's ready to rip your head off, and that famous temper, man, because, you know, you used to yell, and it was more than words that came flying at you. You know what I mean? Like when you were animated, it was like yelling and spitting and cussing and throwing, and I'm pretty sure a couple times you levitated off the ground, you know. So I had this real nervous chuckle, but now, I guess as a grown man, I have resting bitch face, right? So my lead pulls me to the side, and today, or not today, but a couple days ago, and was basically saying how, like, my resting bitch face is like off-putting to a lot of people, or it makes it seem like I don't want to be here, or I don't want to, you know, be a part of what's going on here at work. And my initial reaction was to be like, okay, well, what's my productivity? Check my productivity. It's higher than everybody, you know. I'm signing off stuff, getting stuff done. You know, it's just my face.
Yeah.
But like you said, we don't ask for help. I didn't, you know, I got some stuff going on. I'm not telling them I got stuff going on because, you know, I'm just.
It's not their problem.
Still hooking and jabbing. Yeah. And in my mind, I'm like, as long as I'm doing the work, like, what does my face got to look like? And to be honest, like, you know, they really sound like a place. They wouldn't like they sound like a place concerned, more like complaining. But, you know, maybe if I were to seek help outside, you know, maybe I can fix my face. It's not that most attractive face, you know what I mean? But
I don't know, man. I seem to get a lot of traction. I really wish I had your face for some of these dating profiles, man. Golly, boy, I tell you what, some of the pictures you sent me today, it took no time to get some reaction from the other end. So I understand what you're saying, but you know, the reality of the situation is like, and I know I can do it. Like, my mind will drift off completely, and you'll sound like Charlie Brown talking to me, because the words that are coming out of your mouth as soon as you're saying something that has nothing to do with me, because it would happen in the Marine Corps. Like, I can just stare right the hell through you, but now I don't have to do it at a position of attention or anything, so I can be comfortable and relax and just stare right through you, and you know, like, you're halfway through your stuff and your mouth stops moving, and it's because you want me to answer a question, and my only question is, when your mouth stops moving, is, are we done here? Like, I don't care what you told me. It doesn't matter. And I'm like, are we done here? And they're like, but that's not what I'm talking about. Are we done here? Do you have anything else you'd like to say to me? Because I've got nothing I want to say to you. Professionally, I'd like to keep my job. I want to keep making a little bit of money, chicken scratch I'm getting here. You know, unless you're terminating me or something, we've got nothing else to speak about. You're telling me you don't like the way I look. You know, I don't like the way you smell when you sweat, but turns out we're at work and you're going to sweat. Like, are we just exchanging insults? I mean, what are we doing here? Yeah, I hear you. You know, but this quote speaks toward the mentality of most Marines, to where, you know, they're like, hey, look, this has got to be done. I'm going to get up. I'm going to get it done. You know?
Yeah.
Just a mentality and a mindset.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, that's where I'm at. You know, I've been doing aviation now for 16, 17 years now. You know, I know what I'm doing. I've taught it and everything else like that, and I'm just trying to get through the day, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've got my job, I make my money, I get through the day, I do everything else. Now, there is a political aspect of people liking me, of talking to people to be able to progress in a company, because you've got to climb the political ladder. But and I get that, and I get that from the fact of, you know, like, hey, people get a bad representation of you or this, that, the other. But I mean, at the end of the day, the civilian world is so cutthroat to where somebody wants to step on you to get promoted and step on you and drag you down because it drags them up. And, you know, like the military was that way, but it wasn't that way. You know, like it was that way in some aspects, but not in the drag you down aspect. It's just like, I'm going to outshine you. I'm going to do more than what you're doing. I'm not going to drag you down, you know, and you had to watch your P's and Q's because you couldn't be the person to step out of line and have a reputation to do stuff. You know, like if I did not, like you said, hovertate, if I didn't walk on water, you know, like if I'm trying to yell at you about not shaving and I don't have a shave, it's going in one ear out the other, and I'm basically wasting the breath coming out of my lungs, you know. And at that point, there's a problem. But whenever you are emulating the path you want somebody to take, it means something whenever you're turning the ship around, you know, whenever you're talking to them and you're turning around what's going on. So you can build a crew and build a bunch of different people to just, you know, want to run through a wall to get whatever needs done. It's an amazing feeling to build up people like that.
I think the biggest issue that I've had so far in the civilian world is like that invisible ladder, you know, like when you're in the military, you know, you know, E1 through E5, you know, it's here's how to do it. There's a point system, you know, you got to do your PFT, your CFT, read your MCIs, go to your school, you know, go to the school.
Yeah. So the path is paved, the path is told, the path is all this other different stuff. And in the civilian world, the path isn't quite as paved. It's not quite as told. So, you know,
people just invent stuff.
I'm going to tell you a quote that I got written down right here that I really wish, like, I'm waiting for somebody to test me so I have the ability to say it. And this is what I really would have told somebody if they came up to me and was like, hey man, your work's out the roof. You just have a resting bitch face. Like people are scared. People are scared to approach you. Like, okay, well, that I refer to that as respect. What's the problem here? You know? And he's like, well, you know, it's just, it's really hard for us to put you in a position where people need to come and ask you stuff if you're hard to be approached. I said, well, you know, if they don't want to come and approach me and ask a question that needs to be done, then they don't need to ask the question. They just need to get back to work, you know. And he's like, well, you know, that's you being an asshole. I'm like, well, you know, you're more than welcome to test that assumption at your earliest convenience. Whenever somebody decides that they're going to call me an asshole, you know, like you're more than welcome to test that assumption at your earliest convenience. If you think that I have a resting bitch face and I'm the dickhead here, you're more than welcome to test it. I will definitely answer the call if you want to test that assumption at your earliest convenience, my friend.
Man, you know what? I need that. I see.
That's the type of confidence that happens when somebody literally testifies. You know what I mean? Like they have the confidence in what they're doing, their abilities, everything else, and it's like you're telling me this one little shiny object is what I'm missing. You know, like, you know, I don't get it. Like in the Marine Corps, I came across people who were incapable of doing certain things, so you would find certain things they could do to help speed everything along. If they were the person who always went to go get chow or always did this or whatever, were the, you know, you'd find the things they could do, even if they were just, you know, being your little errand person of running between different people and talking to them, and that's kind of where they fit in the best. You know what I mean? And you taught them very little things. If they, you know, you got them real good at doing everybody's safety training and but you know, you get them good at doing the little things that had to be done that would take away from the ability to do the bigger things. I'm glad, like, I say that in the civilian world you can replace people, but I look around my job and like it's really hard for them to replace people. Like really hard. You know, like I don't understand how some of these people even have their job, much less make more than I do to do what they do, you know, because their competency does not fit their description of what they're doing. But, you know,
I think my issue is like you said, it's just a look on my face, man. It's the look on my face. I don't know what I need to do to fix that. But I guess when I see dumb shit, you know what I mean, and I'm just like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this?
So at the end of the day, you put up with X, Y, and Z because you're not a company man to be in the position to change X, Y, and Z. So you just put up with it. You go to work and you make your money, right?
Yeah.
But there's a line that we don't let people cross, and veterans are very good at drawing that line, you know, in different things. And my problem is drawing that line in like a personal relationship. Like that's my problem, you know. Like once I create a personal relationship with somebody, the worst feeling of a man is realizing you've accepted way more disrespect than you normally would just because you wanted something.
Yeah.
Just because you wanted something, just because I wanted this relationship to work, you know, just because I wanted this marriage to work, just because I wanted this one thing, I accepted way more disrespect than I ever would have, you know. And accepting that disrespect, it beats down on your character, beats down on your confidence, beats down on everything, because you're trying to give up the world to make one thing happen whenever it's like that one thing is not meant to happen. You can move heaven and earth, and it never would have.
You know, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I also think when it comes to veterans, sometimes civilians or think that like, oh, because they're a veteran, you kind of we're like damaged in some sort of way, right? Like we're different or we're weird. You know, I know a lot of veterans that they come to work, they want to do their job. They don't have time to sit at the water cooler and chit chat, you know, and BS about whatever.
Well, you do. And you need to slow down, and you need to be that person, because that's the way that the civilian world works. It's not based off of productivity, because if it was based off of productivity, that's why a lot of veterans run their businesses very well, because they show up and do something and knock it out and productive, and they're 100% good at it. And there's no questions, there's no callbacks, because there was no chance to rework on an aircraft that you just worked on that's going to take off and fly. Whenever I put my stamp of approval that thing was good, it was going to go do its mission and come back, and there wasn't going to be any problems. Right?
Yep.
So, yeah. You know, it all comes back to confidence. It really does with me. And
what if, hear me out, what if you're so good, like they mistake your confidence for cockiness? There's very few things that I am great at. Fixing a plane is one of them. And I guess, like, sometimes, I don't know, it makes them feel like less than when they're trying to talk to me, and I'm looking at them like, we're supposed to be equal, you know what I'm saying? We're getting paid the same. And sometimes you won't believe some of the things that I hear when people ask me, oh, can we do this? And I'm like, how are you here?
Yeah. Yeah, no. On a professional level of that, yeah. I mean, it makes you want to pull them aside and say some shit like, before fucking with me, consider this. You call people to handle stuff. Let me tell you one more time. You call other people to handle stuff. People call me to handle stuff. We are not the same.
Ooh, I like that, boy. I'm telling you, I'm gonna get this stuff on the shirt.
Like
we need
yeah. Like that one hits. You know, like this guy's asking, "Hey, can we do this?" You know, it's like, no. Before messing with me, consider this. You know, consider you call other people to handle stuff. People call me to handle stuff. We are not the same. We might be paid the same, but whenever it comes down to knowledge or somebody asking something they actually care about, not what the score of the football game last night was, or, hey, dog, what did you mix with that whiskey last night? Because it was really good. Like, cool, you can handle that shit. When it comes to the important shit that we work on and we get paid for, you know, like, they going to come to me. They not going to come to you. You going to come to me. You going to come to me too. So stop pretending like you don't. Stop pretending like y'all don't ask me about stuff all the time, telling me that I got a resting bitch face. You know, like, you ask me questions all the time. You constantly chase down the knowledge that it's in my skull. I constantly had Marines outside the Marine Corps. I've been out for 3 years. I got people calling me, asking me about knowledge on an aircraft. I'm like, hold on a second, dog. Let me put down this beer. And can you send me a snapshot of that real quick so I can look at it and kind of somewhat get in a mind for him to help you? Like, yeah, man, no problem. You know, send me a picture real quick. Oh, okay, yeah. Look, this. It's either this or this. You know, and they tell me what it's doing. I'm like, well, no, it can't be that way. It's got to be this way. It's this, or this. Well, based off what you're saying, it's probably this because it's what I thought it was and then what it is now. So odds are it's this one over here. But it might be that one over there. It's okay, sounds good. You know, and they text me back, I got it, thanks. Like, cool. Not a problem. But realize, you know, y'all are messing with me about arresting bitch face, but you still come to me about knowledge about shit. Like, you know, just yesterday, so-and-so was asking me this, and just yesterday, so-and-so was asking me this, and after this conversation, so-and-so is going to ask me this, and later when I walk away, you're going to ask me, hey, man, what pub was that? It's like, I've got the knowledge all you want. So why are you acting like that's a thing? Don't get me wrong. I might be in a headspace and I might be walking around and I've got shit going on up here that y'all don't have going on. Cool. I'm glad that you can notice that, hey, look, right now is not the time to ask him that. Cool. But if it's something considering work, I'll drop everything and answer that question real quick. That doesn't bother me. But don't insult me with a stupid question. Right?
Hey, nothing, hey, look. But you know what? In a lot of ways, that was really good because coming up, being your mentee and stuff like that, I think I asked you a stupid question once and you ripped my head off, and that made me, like, before I ever asked you another question again, that made me like go back and double check.
Yeah,
exhausted all beats.
But it makes you exhaust your own means of figuring stuff out. And in that, what happens? You reread what you're working on, and you have a better knowledge of what your question is when you come to ask me, or you learn how to answer the question yourself, right? So in the process of those two things, me coming across as an asshole in that situation was beneficial to both of us. Because one, I'm not wasting my time teaching you something you should already know, and two, you're now learning and absorbing more stuff the second time, third time around, reading the same exact thing. You know, like, it's weird how easy it is to jump into the 100 and all of a sudden it tells you this. You're like, oh, cool. Well, it's amazing. I've got a wire called exactly what's not happening. Let me check and make sure that one's good. You know?
Yeah. No, it definitely is, man. I guess, like I said, I've been out here since 2023. So I'm officially 3 years out, and I'm still adjusting. I'm still learning, trying to navigate this stuff, and yeah, it takes a lot some days to, like, not want to, like, just yell at somebody and be like, why are we doing the dumb things that we're doing?
Well, so I got it. It takes a lot to do that. But once again, you know, if we jump into why I would yell at people and why I would do stuff, you know, like, is that somebody you're trying to groom to do anything? Or, like, are you even in a position to want to groom that person? You're like, well, turns out I'm going to get some overtime because he's never going to fix that. Let me go work on what I've got to do today. You know, like, it's right. It's crazy.
It's one of those things, man. Well, let me ask you this. Probably, what is the hardest adjustment we've had to make since being out?
Okay. Hey, we're at 28 minutes. We're gonna jump into a new podcast, and you can ask me that because I definitely want to jump into it, but I definitely need more than 2 minutes to explain the answer to that.
Go ahead.
You got any final words of wisdom?
Don't respond with your first thought. Don't respond with your second thought. Respond with your third thought.
Hey, man, iron sharpens iron. Iron sharpens iron. Ethos of Silence. We're out. Make sure you calculate those responses.
We now have a moment of silent prayer for those still in the battle, for our departed comrades, for those missing in action, and for those held as prisoners of war.